Hello, and welcome to Conquering Finale. My name is Jason Lafredo, and I believe we are getting to the end of our expression tool expedition today. I'm breaking my own rule a little bit here. I'm showing you my personal template. I prefer to show you the default Finale template or a version of that, so that what you're seeing on my screen will be similar to what you're seeing on your screen. But in this case, I wanted to give you some ideas about ways to use the expression tool in creative ways. Some of these things I'm going to show you will be very specific to my workflow and my template. I do a lot of musical theater, so some of this may or may not apply to you. But I'm hoping that this will be sort of a primer for you to figure out how to customize expressions for your own templates and whatnot. Some of these may be exactly what you need, some of them may not, but hopefully this will spark some ideas and you can work from there. Because the idea with the expression tool is that if you can create some unique expressions that work for your workflow and put it into a template, you don't have to go back and keep recreating them. You know what I mean? So, put the work in on your template and make some unique expressions. So let me just show you a few things just to give you a couple ideas. And I'm going to open up my expression selection dialog box, and you'll notice that I have a ton of categories on the left-hand side. And some of these categories, literally things like winds, brass. This is basically a copy of the Technique text. Same with synth patches, guitar, bass, drums, percussion, strings. This is more or less just to help me categorize these a little bit. And some of these, like the synth patches, all these things have enclosures around them as well. Again, just use the categories as a way to categorize different elements in your score. That's a big help just to start. One idea that I wanted that might be useful to a lot of you is in the dynamics. You notice that I've got a bunch of dynamics here, and towards the bottom I have several repeat dynamics from fortissimo down to pianissimo. And the reason why I have duplicates here is that these last ones have a different positioning. Now you notice the normal dynamics in the expression designer, the positioning is set to below staff, baseline, or entry, right? So what I've done with these is I've set these to above staff, baseline, or entry. And the reason for that is because then you can use these dynamics for vocal dynamics. As you might want to put the dynamics above a vocal staff. So that's one way to do that. Just create some duplicate dynamics. Another thing I have in this template is I have a whole category of symbols here, and you can see the types of things that I've done here, and you can combine different music symbols with text, like I've got a parenthesized fermata there, and some of these have different positionings too. So one of them is a caesura, and I've got this handy little detail down at the bottom which tells me what it is, and what this is telling me is this is right of entry, which means that the position for this is right of note heads, right of all note heads, according to the staff reference line, a certain position there. And when I add that to this note, you'll see that it puts it in a sort of good position to be after that note. The other one I have there, the one right next to it, is right bar line positioned. So if you look at the positioning here, it's center justified on the right bar line with a little bit negative horizontal offset, and that will give me a caesura at the end of the bar. No matter what's in the bar, that caesura will go at the end of the bar. All right, there's a couple other things here, like this fermata with the parentheses that you can create, which goes over the entry. But also I have some fermatas that go over the right bar line as well, because you can't otherwise put a fermata on a bar line unless you use an expression. Let's see what else is in there. Oh yeah, I've got these numbers 4, 8, 12, and 16. I use those for single bar repeats. So in the drum set part here, just choose 4, and you'll see the number 4 there, and you can go over to the next one and choose 8, etc. So you can, that's a quick way to number your 1 bar repeats. Anything else in there I want to show you? I do have some trill marks in just case I need to use those, and some 1 bar repeats that will put it above, maybe for cues or something like that. So again, that's using the center position that I showed you in one of the last videos. What else do we got? Let's go to a part for a second. Let me go to the violin part. And I do have a category here for page layout, if I can find it. There it is. And this is where I'm going to have my VS texts. And these VS text, if you look at the positioning here, is going to be, well, this is using the category, but it's right to the right bar line below staff baseline or entry, right? So it's going to be on the right side, right to the bar line. Sorry. And you'll see that it will get put in the right place. Now with these VS texts, you do have to remember that you have to use the expression assignment and assign it to part only, otherwise it will show up on the score as well, which we wouldn't want to see. In addition to those VS texts, I do have these measure rest characters here, which are actually shapes. This was a bit of a creation on my part to actually go through and create the shape in the Shape Designer. Again, I will do a lesson on the Shape Designer soon, I promise. But you can use any one of these, and it puts it in the right place, and it looks like it'll tell you that you have 3 bars coming up on the next page when you make that page turn. So that's a handy little character as well. Let's see what else I've got in here. All right, I do have a dialogue category here. And the unique thing about the dialogue category is actually the category designer itself has its own score list for dialogue, which I have set to show on top staff in the score, but in the parts, I have it showing only on the voice. I didn't want to put this on the top staff of parts because then it would put it on every single part, and I don't want the dialogue to go on the violin and the flute part and everything. So I have it specifically checked for the top voice part, which means that when you see the dialogue in the score, what I have here is a piano vocal part that is linked as a part, or this is I guess a piano vocal score which is linked as a part, and you see the dialogue shows up here, but it will not show up on any of the parts. So here's the second measure of the violin, and obviously there's no dialogue there on any of the other parts. All right, and then along the same lines of, sorry, go back to the score, along the same lines of the score list, I'm just going to show you at the end of the score here. At the end of the score, I have this attacca marking, so I have a whole category for segue texts, if I can find it. There's a lot of categories here. And these segue texts not only have a unique position, they are positioned to the right bar line, right justified, below staff baseline, etc. They also have a unique score list. Oops, I should have went into the category designer here and show you that it has a segue score list, which is set to be on the bottom staff of both the score and parts, right? So this will allow this expression to show up again on the bottom of the score, but in the parts themselves. And again, I have the piano vocals listed as a part, so it shows up on the bottom staff of the piano vocal, but then the bottom staff of every other part. You see that attacca at the end of each part. All right, so that's another handy thing to do. And this is important for keyboard parts because you wouldn't want to show it on the top staff, but below the staff, because then it would put it in the middle here. So it's got to be set to below staff for that score list. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a ton of different creative things that you can do, and this is just some of them. And oh, here's another one. I love this. This is my hidden notes category, and literally all this is just I write notes to my collaborators. All of these texts are set to be hidden with the hidden selection right here, so I can write back and forth to my orchestrator, hey, can you fix bar, blah, 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 and he'll see that in the finale score, but obviously it won't ever print, so it's a little nice little way to use sort of a notepad in the middle of finale. All right, so you get an extra special treat. You get to see a little bit of my personal template today, and just wanted to give you some ideas. Hopefully this will spark some ideas of your own. Again, use those positions, use those score lists in unique ways, and it will make your workflow a lot quicker at the end of the day when you do so. All right, so thanks for watching. This has been an exhausting expedition of the Expression tool, but I'm glad you came along with me. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.